Hey everybody, so this is going to be like a full Tyranobuilder tutorial. Full is in I'm going to show you how to do choices and choices with consequences and stuff like that. So we'll just start new project. Let's see. Name your I just say okay to everything. You can play around with this if you want to. But you know how it is starting a new project, you just say okay a lot. So when you first open Tyranobuilder, on the left hand side it has sort of all of the things you can do that you drag in order to make them work. And over here in the middle you have what happens in the game line by line. So they kind of start you off with something preset, I guess, to show you kind of that where everything goes. If you look at it, it's sort of just like a room with some text in it, right? So I just get rid of everything. When I'm starting a visual novel, I kind of start with the exposition, right? So you want a background, a character, a song, a character to say stuff. So I start off with bringing all of that stuff in. So we're going to start with adding a background. So in this case, you just go over here to images and change background. Even though you don't have a background yet, you still say change background. And on the right over here, you're going to go to browse. It comes with some preset stuff. I delete it most of the time, but if you delete some of them, then you'll get errors when you start because like the title screen has this background. So you probably don't want to do that right away. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to start off in the living room. I'm going to use a bunch of assets I used from a game I made before just to do the tutorial. So I went in to choose file. I picked my file that I wanted, and now I'm going to double click on that file and added it to. So it's going to play that. That room's going to show up when the game starts. So next I'm going to add some characters. This is also where I would start the song. If I play a song, you're not going to be able to hear me talk whenever the game is playing. So I'll show you how to add a song, but I'm not going to do it. So first, to add the characters, we're going to go up here to the Assets tab, and we're going to go to the middle one that reads Characters. And so you're going to click this character, and this box is going to come up. So I'm going to have two characters. I have Clyde. So you put their name, you add it, and then you double click on their name. And that's how you pull up a picture of them. So these I'm going to have that I've already edited. PNG files, so that way they don't have a background. So like, let's say I had a bunch of different expressions for Clyde. I would drag all of his pictures in under his name, and then you can pick which one you want whenever you are doing that. But you have to be careful, because like, let's say you're in one scene and Clyde is gonna like close his eyes or something. If you're gonna change expression, they have to be the same size, because you can't resize them for change expression, as far as I know. And I'm kind of lazy about making all my characters the same size, so I just make a new character name for each one, so that way, you know, I can reset them every time, and also I know which one to make exit. So just be aware there's different ways you can do things. So I have him now. Now I'm going to add another character. So you can add as many characters. This is how you add all of your characters, right? So we're going to say this one. So we've added our characters. If we were going to add a song, we would go over to music, in the same way, add file. And here I would choose file, and I'd pick this song, right? Now I am going to have a sound effect of someone knocking on a door. So then I would go here to sound effects, add file, and it's the same exact thing. Sound files have to be OGG files, so you know, go into Audacity or whatever it is you use and change it to an OGG. I think that's how I did it. And then if you have any images, like if somebody's holding a phone and you just have a cutout phone you're going to place, or something like that, that's where you would go into images and add those in. Alright, so if I was going to play a song here, I'd drag in play music, and then I'd go over to browse and I'd pick the song I'd put in. If you have a bunch of music, like if you're going to change the song, like if something gets exciting, you want to probably do a fade in and a fade out so it's not so obvious the song is changing, and you can decide how long it takes for that to happen. If you have it on loop play, when the song is over, it'll restart the song, versus if you don't, once the song is over, it'll just stop. But remember, and this is very important, this is where half my bugs come from, is everything you're putting in here right now you have to take back out. So if you're going to have a song, you have to stop the song, or else you're going to have two songs playing at the same time. If I'm going to add a character, then I have to make that character exit, or you're going to have multiple characters on the screen. Background image, you don't have to remove, or background, you don't have to remove the background, you just change it. But image, you'll have to say remove image if you put in an image. So everything you put in, you have to take out. The main exception is background, because you're just going to say change background. Okay. So now we're going to add our characters. So we're going to say join scene. So Clyde's going to start off alone in his house. So I'm going to say browse. I'm going to pick him. And then I'm going to go into positioning tool and decide where he's going to be. So you can resize him. You can do it by pulling the corner. I do it by the mouse wheel. But whatever it is you prefer. Actually, I'm going to have him over here because Kylo's kind of big. Flip him to look the other way. So there Clyde is, hanging out in his house. I'm going to get rid of the music. Save it. And he's just going to talk to himself a little bit. So in order to have text, you have to show the text bar. You have the text itself, and then you have to remove the text bar. So I kind of always put this as a set, even though they're in a different place. So text is in story, and show and remove text is in messages. And you see there's some other things that you can do within these sections. So in order to say who's speaking, you do a pound sign and the name, and that will show the person speaking in the text box. So he's just going to be like, wow, what a long day. I'm so tired. So if I put all of this on one line, it's all going to show up as one line on the text bar. If I say return, then you'll have to hit a button in order to get to the next line. I can't wait to hit the hay. Okay? So when you play this, so I'm going to say play the game. There's a couple ways you can do this. I'll show you all the ways. You see how the text box is kind of in the middle of the screen? I don't really like that very much. It depends on what I have going on in the picture. If I have a lot at the bottom, then I'll put the text box at the top. Or if I don't, then I'll put the text box at the very bottom. So in order to show you, if you go up here to this little gear, you can go to game settings and you can go through this and change a bunch of different stuff. We're going to go to message window and position. So you have the window size, width, height, X position, Y position. So we're going to change the X position as good, but the Y position is where we don't like it. So we're going to say we want it to 500. And I just know that because this is kind of where I change it to, and you can have a reference to where you change it to. Text distance from window edge. I like 20 from the top, 10 from the bottom. And left to right, I like 10 and 20. So I'm going to say apply. And then you can also right click and say preview from here, and it's kind of an easier way to get to it. So you see how the text box is moved down, but Clyde's name is still like super high up. So you still have to go in and also do that to the name. So you're going to go to name field, and for this your Y position, since I made the Y 500, I'll make the name 505. And then you can see that everything is together. Okay? So now, started our story. Clyde's tired. You can't wait to go to sleep. Okay, so we're going to bring a knock at the door. So we go to, what am I looking for? Play sound effect. We added a sound effect. So I'm going to pick it. Oh, sorry, I have to hit the gray area. We can hear what it sounds like. And I'm not going to loop it or anything like that. I don't have to stop it because I didn't loop it. And so Clyde is going to say, come in. So again, I have to do show text, remove text. There's something in between it. Now, since Clyde spoke last, I don't actually have to put his name at the top, but I like to do it just so I can keep track of what's happening. Also, I mean, this is kind of extra, and this is going to be long, but still. You don't always have to say show text, remove text. If you have one big show text, you can put a remove text after a lot, but I feel like it's kind of distracting to have a text box with no text happening when nothing is happening, if you know what I mean. And you'll get a bug if you don't put in a remove text at the right place. So I just find it's cleaner to keep it all together in the game and in the interface. So now we're going to join the scene. And Ben is going to join the scene. So we're going to pick him, and we're going to position him over here because he's kind of big, right? Make him a little tall. And we're going to flip him so he's looking at Clyde kind of, I mean, you know, as much as you can look at somebody who's also looking at the crowd. And he is going to talk. He's just going to be like, so this is where we're going to start our choices. Hey, Clyde. Glad you are still up. Since I'm new to town, I thought you might want to show me around the nightlife. What do you say? I should also point out at this point, there's no spell check. So if you're a terrible speller like myself, you will be exposed. There is no spell check. So Ben's asked, hey, Clyde, what's up? You want to take me out? So this is where we're going to have our first choice. So this is like a non-committal choice, you know. You have one answer that will go in one path and one answer that'll go in another path. This is sort of how your games get really long. Like, you can put as much as you want in each path. So you can have a game that takes 5 minutes to play, but there's really an hour's worth of material and they're just not going down that branch. This is really where you can make your game have a lot of differences for the player. So anyway, in order to do that, you're first going to put in a branch button. So this is what gives them the choices. And I always, again, sort of like show text, remove text. I put this stuff in as a lump to make sure I have it all. And then you're going to have a stop, and then you're going to have two labels. So the branch button is the choices. The stop is, so as the program goes down, it's going to read each line one by one. And if you don't have a stop here, it's not going to say, oh, I picked this one, so I'm going to go here. It will just keep going to the first label. So you actually have to have the stop so it'll read which one it's supposed to go to based off of what information you supply it. So stops are really important if you don't want the program to just read line by line. Okay, and then the labels are where you're going to, the branch button is going to take you. So you always have to have a label for each branch. And I always label the label first so I can write where to send the branch. So the first label will be, yes, I'll go. One thing is you can't reuse label names. So, you know, be mindful of what you're naming them, because if you reuse it, then you're going to get a bug. Right? So this is where your jump is, the branch is going to take you after you make the choice. So your first branch button, your target is yes, I will go label. And the button is going to, itself is going to say yes. Sounds like fun. Right? Except, and then we're going to position it. So you can drag and drop position it, or you can go over here to the XY position and do it. If I'm making a game that I don't want to look bad, then I'll write down like what the positions are so I can be consistent, but I'm being, you know, we're just making a tutorial here. And for this one, you're going to say no thanks. Now, don't be alarmed if you decide to position the second one first and you don't see the first one. So if I decided to position no thanks before yes, that sounds like fun, I wouldn't see yes, that sounds like fun, because it happens before it. It's kind of hard to explain. But it's always good to go in order, I guess is the best way to say it. And I save a lot. So for this label, yes, that sounds like fun, we're going to have some text. Yes, I will go. Clyde's going to say, I know just the, I was tired, but I can always hang out if the company is good. And then we can jump to like the next question, which is where we're going to go, right? So that'll be the end of that section. And I'll show you what to do with it after I do the next one. I kind of do one thing at a time, and then I build the next thing off of that. So I'm not going to like build where this goes until I finish this part, right? But you can totally do it however you want. But sometimes you have like, you know, so much in between. It's just, it can get really hard to organize when it's a really long game. But I won't talk about that anymore. So for this one, he's going to say, what did he say? No thanks. I'm super tired. I don't think I'd be any fun. And then Ben is going to try and talk him into it. But it's still early. How about for just a few hours? And then we can have another choice within this, right? So we'll do branch button, stop, label. But I'm only going to put one label here. I know, right? Yeah, I said I would work in order, but now I can see that this is sort of like you see what you need and then you do it, right? So here we're going to go to where we're going to go, right? So Clay gets to decide where he's going to go. So what I'm going to do is put a label down here, because this is where the character is going to go after this happens, or after he says yes here. This is going to be a label for what happens after both yeses. So we're going to label this, we are going out. I know, it's so confusing, right? Maybe it isn't, I don't know, it's hard to say. So after this remove text, before this label, we are going to put in a jump and a stop. So this jump is going to make it so after this happens, we're going to skip all of this and go down here. Okay? So for this jump, we're going to say jump to we are going out. And the stop makes it so it doesn't go to this next label. That's the other half of my bugs, is when I forget to put in the stop and it just keeps going. So this label, we're going to say final no. So for this branch button, we'll say, well, for a little while. And that target is going to be, we are going out. So if he decides to agree, we can go to this label. And if he says yes to begin with, we will also go to that label. That's going to progress the story for both choices, if that makes sense. Except in this branch, we have to position it. And this branch button is going to be the final no. I'm beat for real. This is a no, final no, right? Clyde is not interested. So under the final no, we'll have like the goodbye. Then that's cool. I won't bother you again, right? And then you can have a jump to the end of you can have like a final screen like the game is over, thanks for playing, and that's where you would have this jump, right? The game would be over at that point. If you want, we can say, well, if I want, I can say exit scene, and I'm going to say Ben is exiting. And I do not want to adjust the character's position, or else Clyde is going to like fly across the room whenever he leaves. And I do not want him to waste time, so I'm just going to say 0. You're out of here. And that would be the end of the game in that case. So let's play it with Clyde saying no and see if it works. Wow, what a long day. I'm so tired. Oh, well, okay. So one thing I could do is have a wait after that knock, and then he would wait to say come in, I guess would be the best way to do it. So you might want to show me around the nightlife. What do you say? No thanks. I'm super tired. Yep. How about a few hours? Oh, I forgot to say remove text. Huh. Oh yeah, I did right there. Okay. See what happens if you don't remove text? The end. That's weird. Okay. Oh, I have it down here. I put stuff in between it. Another reason you'll get a bug. There would be a million things I do that gives me a bug. So what I would do here is put in a wait for this long, and then it'll take him that long to answer. So that way he doesn't talk while the sound effect is playing, right? All right, so we've ended the game if he says no, and now we have some options for where we're going out. So now we're going to decide, do we want to go here or do we want to go there? So I'm not going to make this much longer. I'm just going to show you how to do some consequences, so I'm going to set out the next scene. But I'll also show you some other things you can do. So normally your exposition will be like super, super, super long, right? And then you'll have some choices that go into another branch of the story. So you kind of want to separate them in the scenes, and that helps you keep the interface organized, right? So you can go over here to scenes and say new scene. So let's say we have 2 options for a date, and one would be art museum. Oh yeah, you can't cheat on this one. All right, and then your other option, you have to save it, or it'll be upset at you. Your other option is goth bar, right? Ah, I know. You hate me. I hate you. Okay. And then you have to save it. So now you had scene 1, which automatically started for you, and now you can put stuff in here or in here. So what I'm going to do is put a label in here, and that way I can start in the scene, because you can't move somewhere without a label, right? So this label is going to be called Art Museum Scene, Art Museum Date. the thing is named Art Museum. I don't know if it would make a bug, but you never know what's going to make a bug, so I'm not going to name it the same name. And if you don't save it, when you go to the goth bar, it's not going to save what you just said. So you can do things and not save it while you're making the game, but if you move between scenes, if you don't save it, it's not going to save it. Okay, so in here we're going to put a label called goth bar date, right? Save. So here we are going out. So we're going to put in some choices to decide where we're going. So we have 2 branches, our stop. So this branch, so you see how location is scene 1, which where we've been, so we haven't changed it. Now we're going to change this location to Art Museum. And our, so that's the location, which scene. And then we're going to say target, which is the label we made. We're going to say Art Museum date. And now we're going to say an art museum would be fun. Right? Or this one, in this case we're going to make the target the goth bar label we made, and the target would be the goth bar date. Oh yeah, this would be the scene and this would be the label. Yeah, you get the idea. You look like a goth bar kinda person. Okay, here we go. So now we can start in those other scenes. So this really isn't going to be that much longer. So if you go to the art museum, the reason I'm doing this is so I can do some consequence choices that add points to things, and you can have like a good ending or a bad ending. So I had to have enough to make that happen. So in this scene, if I didn't say exit for everything, you'd have all the same characters and the same song and everything from the last scene move over it. So what you probably want to do is here before you stop, you can say exit all. I like to actually do it at the beginning of things, but then I often forget to do it. And then someone just says, your character moved in. I say exit all instead of, if you say exit scene, that would be per person. Exit all is exiting everybody. Here you would also say stop music. I'm gonna do a new, like I said at the beginning, I'm gonna change the background at the beginning of the scene so I don't have to worry about that. So art museum. We're gonna add in a picture. So we're gonna say change background. And we're going to put in an art museum. Okay. And then we're going to add our characters, join scene. At this point, you'd probably have a different character image for them, like they put on their date clothes or whatever, you know, or they'd have a different expression, but you know, for the sake of the tutorial, let's just have everybody look like they do. So we're gonna put our characters in. There you go, buddy. Looking kind of serious. Okay. And then he's going to be like, this isn't really my scene. I forgot to say you didn't send that. So that would be a bad ending, right? And then we jump again to, like, you know, after this is done, we jump to the final scene or whatever we're doing next. Or we'd have choices that went to different labels, whatever, right? So for the goth bar, we're gonna change the background. I was gonna use this in a game, but I didn't. But you know, we've really seen how to do it since we're doing it a million times, right? Yeah. stage. What about you, Ben? You look good no matter where you are. Let's do it. Alright. Matches the atmosphere. Don't mind if I do. Alright. So then, Ben is like, I'm totally feeling this place. Thanks for bringing me here. Okay, so so we have our setup, and now we're gonna set a new scene. We're gonna name that final scene, and this final scene. This final scene is going to be based off of the choices you make, right? So we're going to put a label here. Well, we're not going to put a label here. What we're going to do, and I know this might be kind of a convoluted way to do things, but I go back and put in the points on how things end after I'm done. So then I kind of know where they are, because you're not just going to have the same points go towards the same thing. You're going to have, you know, some points going towards one conversation and some points going to another conversation. So you're going to have a lot of variables, and they're going to, you know, affect a lot of different things. I mean, sometimes it's just whether or not a variable depends on if you're just going to say one thing, like, hey, you said that you were a fun person, if they said they were fun earlier. Or it could be like, you know, something really major, like you said a lot of things I liked, so at the end we're together, right? So in this case, just to be simple, after the label, so, oh, sorry, first we're going to go to project, and we're going to pick variables. We're going to name this I like you. Let's see if it lets me do that. Okay. So the initial value for this is going to be 0. You can put it whatever your number you want. If you want to set it at 10 and then you take points away or add points, you know, it's totally up to you. But we're only adding here, so I'm going to start it at 0. So I've made my variable. So after this label, I'm going to put in process variable. So the variable name was I like you, and luckily it pulls it up for you whenever you start writing it. We're going to add in 1 whenever he says that, right? And then the second one, so you automatically get 1 point, right? And then if you take him to a goth bar after this label, you get a second point. So it's going to be called the I like you variable. You're going to add 1, right? Apply. Okay. So at the final scene, well, just to make my life a little bit easier, we're just going to remove everything here. So we're going to exit all, and then we're going to put in the jump. And then we're going to, I got to kind of reason it out in my mind a little bit, but you can do it a lot easier once you're doing a lot of it. No. Exit all, jump. Okay. So final scene, everybody will be out. So we're going to put in a label, 2 labels. One label is going to be called I like you, pick me. And one is going to be called never mind. Okay? And these are all in the final scene. So for the art museum, we're going to jump to location, final scene, target, never mind, and then we're going to click jump if the condition is true. So under A, you're going to put the name of the variable, which is I like you. You'll have a ton of variables perhaps, so just keep track of which one goes where. And if the value is less than 2, right? Because if you have 2, then you did everything right. If you have less than 2, then you did everything wrong, right? Let's hope this works. Sometimes I get really confused with these symbols and the numbers and stuff like that because I'm not the smartest. So then our final scene would be final scene. I like you, pick me. Jump if the condition is true. And this would be the I like you value. Now I could say if A equals 2, or I can say if it is greater than 1. Because if you say greater than 2, it's not going to pick 2, which is really confusing, and it took me forever to figure that out, and I had a lot of problems. So you'd have to say greater than 1, because it's not going to say greater than and equal to, it's just going to be greater than. But in this case, I'm going to say equals 2 because that's the number I want it to be, and that's how it is. I forgot to put a stop. Don't forget your stops, so you'll get people you know telling you that it is not right, which is very helpful because there's no way you can play test all of this. It's just not going to happen. So under this label, you're going to say, oh, we didn't put in anything. Under this label, and what I would have done if I would have thinking, I would say label final scene and set the background image and then put these 2 labels in for yes or no, but you know, we're doing a tutorial. So we're back in the living room. We're joining the scene. Kyler's just going to take up a lot of room. I meant Ben. Alright, here we are. This is I like you. Ben. I had a great time tonight. Maybe we can do it again. And then, you know, on and on and on. Yes, no, whatever, whatever. We're just seeing if it works. We got to put in a stop. Or for this label, we got to do the same thing. Dang it. This is why you want to just do it once at the top, but I didn't do a good job of setting that up, and I don't want to go back, so sorry, everybody. You can fast forward. You can really get good at watching me how to do this. Oh, why are you there? I don't understand. Shouldn't be there. Didn't I say no? Didn't I exit you? This is from the art museum. Exit all. Jump, right? Shouldn't be there. Exit all. Are you there from earlier? Because I stopped. Shouldn't be there. Let's just put you there anyway and let's see what happens. Let's just put them in that spot. I don't know why I say it. Let's see if it's a real bug or not. Because we have a stop. Okay. So I'm sure we'll have a bug. I always have a bug. Ben. Well, I guess that was cool. Maybe I'll hit our other neighbor tomorrow. Okay? So, let's see if it worked. And you'll spend a lot of time playing your game. So let's first do the no one, because I'm curious to see. I see I had to wait too long, but you can play with that. No, oh shoot, let's say yes. Okay, what did we do? Tutorials. No thanks. Well, for a little while. No thanks. No thanks goes to no thanks. Right? Where's that label? No thanks. Show text, text, remove text, branch button. Well, for a little while goes to we are going out. Do I have a stop? I have a stop. Dang. Don't tell me I have to do this again. Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. No thanks. Oh, well now it's working. I love Tyranobuilder. Okay, wait. No, haha, it's not working. Art museum would be fun. Oh. Oh. I can't exit all here. It's got to be at the beginning. Living and learning, huh? So we'd have to exit all here before we add the stuff. And then we're going to exit all here. After that. All right. Sorry, everybody. But, you know, you get to see what it's really like. Which is, what did I do? I don't believe it's me. Oh, I gotta shorten that white. What do you say? No thanks. I'm still... well, for a little while. Where do you want to go? I'm gonna have to redo this whole stupid tutorial again. Oh, we didn't ever put in text going, where do you want to go? Okay, so if he goes for a little while, then we need to jump up to, because he says, yes, I will go. The text says, I'm tired, but company is always good. Yes, for a little while. Then we need text saying, where do you want to go? I don't know. Well, let's see if this works. Let's see, did I already do this? Blah, blah, blah. No thanks. Okay. Art museum would be fun. And we go back home. Okay. Okay, so you got the rejection one. Finally, success. Or let's see if the other one works. If miracles happen. Sure. Yes, that sounds like fun. Where should we go? In goth bar. Cue goth music that we're not playing, but you wouldn't be able to hear me. And then he says, I had a great time tonight. Okay, so there we have it. How to make a full game. Yeah, I wish it was smoother, but yeah. Hopefully that is pretty clear.